Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening wherever you are in your corner of the world. Today we're going to discuss the quantum financial system. And stick around to the end. And I think you will be very excited with your investment. In this video, we're going to be focused on Ripple and XRP, as it is the massive design to the system. All right, here we go, and here we begin.
As a central part of our commitment to building an inclusive society, we established the National Council for the American Worker. We want every citizen, regardless of age or background, to have the cutting-edge skills to compete and succeed in tomorrow's workplace. This includes critical industries like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and 5G.
Right, you heard it directly from the U.S. President, Donald Trump. The National Quantum Initiative Act. The National Quantum Initiative Act is an act of Congress passed on December 13, 2018, and signed into law on December 21, 2018. The law gives the United States a plan for advancing quantum technology, particularly quantum computing. It passed unanimously by U.S. states or Senate and was signed by President Donald Trump. Here we have the 115th Congress of the United States of America, and there you have the H.R. 6227. Trump signs legislation to boost the quantum computing research with $1.2 billion USD. And here we have Ivanka Trump, his daughter. It's official. The U.S. has achieved quantum supremacy in a collaboration between the Trump administration and at Google and UC Santa Barbara. Quantum computer Sycamore has completed a calculation in 3 minutes and 20 seconds that would take about 10,000 years for a classical computer. The reason I'm involving his family here, as many don't seem to realize that he is actually labeled the quantum president for a reason, as he's bringing in all of these systems. If you look back throughout his history, there is his connection to his uncle back to Nikola Tesla, the smartest man in history. Here we have Google praised by White House for their quantum supremacy. I'm going to get into that right here.
The tantalizing promise of quantum computers is that they can do certain tasks exponentially faster than classical machines. And the quantum supremacy experiment is proof that this is indeed the case.
The word quantum computer is a little bit misleading because it sounds like a computer. And when people think of computer, they think of a phone or a laptop. The truth is, the phone and the laptop and even a very powerful supercomputer all operate according to the same fundamental rules. And a quantum computer is fundamentally different.
The classical bit stores information as a 0 or 1, and a quantum bit can be both 0 and 1 at the same time. If you have 2 quantum bits, then there are 4 possible states that you can put in superposition. With 3 qubits, it's 8, 4 qubits, it's 16. It grows exponentially.
The nice thing about quantum supremacy is that it is a very well-defined engineering milestone.
In a nutshell, what we're trying to do is we're trying to show that experimental quantum computers can surpass the best supercomputers in the world.
To actually demonstrate quantum supremacy, we have these 3 steps. First, pick a circuit. Second, run it on the quantum computer. Third, simulate what the quantum computer is doing on a classical computer. We gradually increase the complexity of that circuit. At some point, it becomes completely impossible for the classical computer to keep up. Then we say we've achieved quantum supremacy.
We started building together the quantum chips to do this experiment. And then the evolution of the devices with more and more qubits and more complexity. It's very much an iterative process.
A lot of the work that we put in was not just these chips, but is also the infrastructure that you need to drive those chips. The cryostats that we install them in, all of the control electronics, software, all of this stuff is needed, and it all has to be developed.
When the experiment started, we were getting data from the experimentalists. We saw initially a beautiful straight line corresponding to our predictions.
Then, right before we hit Supremacy, it dropped much faster and it fell below the threshold where it needed to be.
And there's nothing we can do because we don't know how to analyze past that. So everyone's like, oh, we're screwed because it's getting really, really bad at large number of qubits.
It's like, well, maybe there's some really complex interaction between all the qubits.
It turned out that the reason was rather benign. We calibrated a little bit better and then this problem disappeared.
So there wasn't like oh, we did it.
I think we crossed it, and then it wasn't clear that we crossed it, so we crossed it a little bit further.
It took me like a day to realize, like, hold on, this is actually experimental data. It's kind of amazing to see, how well the theory works.
The processor that achieved quantum supremacy is called the Sycamore processor.
And it's parallel processing 2 to the 53 states, which is 10 million billion. And thus that enormous amount of parallel processing is what gives it the power.
When we run small chunks of the computation in the largest supercomputer in the world, our estimate is that it will take thousands of years to complete the full computation.
Technologies are born this way. Let's say the space age started with a satellite orbiting Earth, and it was not doing much, it was just beeping.
The big technical achievement of quantum supremacy was really dependent on all this young talent who's kind of taken this and gotten it to work at a very technologically capable level.
We have reached a new computational capability. There are certain computations, the only place in the world where you can compute those things is here in our data center at Google Santa Barbara.
For the first time, we're showing that we can solve a problem that is just infeasible to do on the biggest computers ever made by civilization.
And what's exciting is now we're ready to turn this over to the world and say, let's figure out what we can do with this.
The thing that excites me most is building a useful quantum computer. When we can give a researcher a tool that is unlike any other and say, great, figure out something cool to do with it. Mankind is pretty good at that.
All right, there you've heard it directly from Google. Now you have Google-backed blockchain startup Ripple raises 55 million USD from the big banks. And then here we're going to play this.
You familiar with XRP and the efforts of Ripple?
With the distributed ledger technology for their payments?
Yep.
Yes.
You familiar with X?
I guess that thing wants to loop. There you have it. And then here we have Ripple. Instantly move money to all corners of the world. Here we have the financial system that creates economic opportunities. The Presidential Executive Order 13772. And here we have it on page 194. And what do we see here but Ripple? Let's move on. A new financial system, aka the quantum financial system. Let's go into this article. QFS literally meaning is quantum financial system, which is an advanced financial system launched to eradicate the cabal and banksters' monopoly on monetary system, and for that purpose, a system comprises of artificial intelligence and complex computer programs fully backed by banks is needed. The quantum financial system would be a breakthrough in the world of banking, which led to a new era of banking, QFS, which will not be influenced by government policies, rather it will be entirely backed by tangible assets like gold, platinum, oil, and will not be based upon mere piece of papers, which have no evidentiary value. My point here, I'm not focused on any of the banking issues, only to the description of what it is and what it will be backed by. Anything else is really relevant at this point. And then here, let's hear from him, the president, U.S. President Donald Trump again.
We're continuing to work on things that you'll be hearing about in the near future, that even today, sitting here right now, you wouldn't believe it's possible, that we have found the answers. You'll be hearing about it, but we have found answers to things that people said would not be possible, certainly not in a very short period of time. But the wonders of the last century will pale in comparison to what today's young innovators will achieve, because they are doing things that nobody thought even feasible to begin. We continue to embrace technology, not to shun it. When people are free to innovate, millions will live longer, happier, healthier lives.
And then here, we've shown President Trump, basically the quantum president as he's titled. We've shown his daughter involved on the quantum computer. And then here we have his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Venture Fund helps to turn Robinhood into a unicorn. So you can see they're completely surrounded by digital assets. The president, obviously in the Executive Order 13772, definitely knows Ripple by name and those running the company. You can also go to the White House and check the visitation list and find Ripple there. What is a unicorn? A unicorn is a privately held startup company valued at over $1 billion. And then here we have, going back to Jared Kushner.
I mean it again now.
Sorry, this thing
As
looks
I said
fast.
16 months ago, thank you also, Jared Kushner, my friend and partner, for all your work and guidance and support. I said before, from the heart, I mean it again now.
Here you go. Thank you to Jared Kushner for his help in this system. We're going to play another video here.
Was a focal point for regulators of different types to recognize that digitization and the digitization of the plumbing and other aspects of our financial system, including payment transfers, et cetera, it is coming. The what I'll say, just the natural economic forces that it unleashes, taking fat out of the system, for lack of a better term, it's happening. Now we have to recognize that that's happening, recognize our mission, safety and soundness, investor protection, fair markets, and ensure that as that digitization takes place, we're being true to those principles. But we should not be fighting that digitization, because if we fight it, it will go around us.
Well, thank you. That mirrors my feelings on it, and I assume that when you say it is coming,
I'm sorry, Senator, it's here.
This year.
It's here. It is here already.
Yeah, I see. It's here.
How excited was his face to discuss this new system? If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss all of this. And if you're a new investor, it's probably going to be pretty mind-blowing, not really realizing what you're invested in, as there are people who have been in this community for a long time and don't necessarily get it as well. I want to bring up this here. We have Intellect Quantum Central Banking Solution. And as we get into that, we have the Intellect Quantum Central Banking Solution. And here you have the Intellect Quantum CBS at the Specialist Core Banking Solution for the unique requirements of central banks based on the quantum system. Then you have a lot of familiar names throughout this page. What do we have here on Intellect, the quantum system? You have the IGTB. Who do you have? R3, Partner on Quota Powered Corporate Finance Systems. And then when you go to IGTB's page, what do you have here but Ripple enabled for cross-border transactions using the DLT, the Distributed Ledger Technology. And then I wanted to just give you a a handful of headlines. The financial system is broken. Here is proof. Decentralizing a broken financial system. The future of banking and fintech. Fixing a broken system and the quantum age. The Fed's money printing points to a broken financial system. What do we have here but from the bullion vault for gold? Our broken financial system. I want to end this video with a quick reminder from David Schwartz.
Toxic ecosystem, and I think we kind of should all work to sort of we're all in this together. If the crypto markets are sending us any signal, it's that we're all in this together. The market does not know if cryptocurrency is going to be a thing, and I think we need to work together to make sure that it is a thing, and then we can fight over, like, is it Bitcoin, is it Ethereum, is it XRP, is it Litecoin, is it some new thing that doesn't even exist today, is it DeFi ecosystems that don't even have native tokens, like, where is that value? If you worked at Google in the 90s, you would be excited about search. You would tell anybody who would listen about search. And you'd have been absolutely right. But you could also have been working at Excite, AltaVista, Ask Jeeves, Lycos, right? You would still have been right about search, right? Like, we don't know. We're nowhere near ready to figure out who the winners are going to be. But obviously, people have to decide where to place their bets if they're kind of in it for short-term profit.
All right, guys, we're going to finish off the video with some people are lost in the fire. Others are built from it. This is not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. And we'll catch you in the next one.